wasn't, due to the fact, most of the people that my dad or I have raced against, we've been around them our whole lives. Like Michael Waltrip, I grew up with his daughter, Caitlin, and then Daryl's daughter, Macy, and all those kids, we grew up together. My cousin, Steven, he was always hanging out with Jimmy Spencer, Katrina Spencer, so we all grew up together, so honestly, I don't look at people who race as a celebrity. I feel like we are all the same people as anyone else. We just have a really cool hobby that we get to do weekly.
Got it. What's Steven been up to lately? We haven't seen him in NASCAR for a while.
Steven traded in the race car for motorcycles. Him and Rusty actually own Southern Custom Motorcycles in Mooresville, North Carolina. So they are building big road gliders and choppers these days and doing very well. They were just in Sturgis. They actually do a charity deal out there with the bikes and give money back. So they're doing very well for themselves now and super happy.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the different personalities of racing drivers when you meet them in person, Is it like, you have to be careful around some, and then some you have to read the room a bit when you know what's going on? What do you do with all that?
So that's a really good question, because everybody's their own person and all act different, but I hate to say it, yes, there's certain drivers and that you walk into a room and they're in there, you just keep a smile on your face and, you keep your distance, but majority of the drivers, you can just walk right up to, sit down and talk to them and hang out with them just like they're your own family. And yeah, I feel like you just kind of got to read that room on that day. It just depends on how everybody woke up,
Yeah. I attended every Phoenix race because that's where I'm based. I attended every Phoenix Cup race from 2008 to 2020, except for the late one in 2015 and then early 2016. And I had access to the pit lane, and so I had a lot of drivers, that I interacted with, during those years, plenty of time. I had an interaction with Jamie McMurray, who was my childhood hero, actually. Got a signed cap out of him and got to ride his golf cart, and he asked me as a quiz question for his statistics at the time regarding wins, top fives, and top tens. And I knew he was going to put me on the spot, so I answered the question nervously after doing homework for a few weeks, and he said, "Man, you're good." And then, one time I had an interaction with Juan Montoya during the final race that he ran at Phoenix for Chip Ganassi Racing in 2013. I had an interaction with him where I snuck through a crowd by cutting in line. And I was able to secure an autograph and a handshake and a smile from him, and he told me to go have fun watching. And then I remember getting into a little bit of trouble for having cut through the line. But hey, I got an It was worth it, because he's an F1 champion, an Indy 500 champion, and a Cup Series winner. I can't complain about that. And then one time when David Reutimann was still driving for Michael Waltrip Racing, I encountered him on the pit lane and asked for an autograph on a screenshot of a conversation I had with him, instead of a photo of his car or a hero card like he would expect. And when he expressed a little bit of puzzlement about it, he signed it for me. But the thing about me is I'm a storyteller, so what I did was I went on a lengthy monologue explaining how a screenshot autograph is no different than any other autograph. And by the time it was over, David handed me back the screenshot with his signature. But when I was like, you know what I'm saying? He just had somewhat of a jot draw, but nodded his head.
As a driver and everything, a lot of people don't expect those type of things. They're expecting somebody to come up with, either a postcard or, hey, sign this shirt, but then they realize, hey, holy crap, I've had a conversation with this person, I know who they are, and see certain things. It actually is pretty cool seeing different things like that, and I'm sure it took him by surprise, and, you know, it's probably one of those autographs that he's had to do that he's going to remember. And at least, you know, you left that impression on him to where you stick out compared to everybody else. And, you know, like you were talking about Juan, I don't think a lot of people gave Juan enough credit and realized how good of a driver he was in other series before coming to NASCAR. Yes, he did good in NASCAR, but he was a dominating driver in other series. And so the fact that you cut through line to get to him, I don't blame him. I think there's a lot of people that would have done that. And,
yeah.
You know.
And, you know, to this day, I keep saying the same thing to people whenever I bring up my interaction with Juan, which is, can we hold off on the jet dryer jokes?
Yeah.
You know, anyone who thinks that crash was intentional are...
Far from it.
No, it's like, if that was intentional, Juan would have had his license pulled. And that's what fans forget or are ignorant about, you know?
The fans are so... You know, one thing that I've realized this year, especially after racing a racetrack like Bowman Gray and Winston-Salem, a lot of these fans who are not... I mean, I hate to kind of put it this way. These fans that really aren't true fans and don't care, they are the ones who will sit there and assume things and speak really ill and negatively about people. And at the end of the day, they really do not have a clue what it takes to get in these race cars. They don't understand what goes on the track. They don't understand what it feels like going into a corner running 100 plus miles per hour and hitting oil and having no control of your vehicle. I don't think there's one driver on this world that is purposely going to go into a corner, hit oil, lose control, and hit a jet dryer and explode like a fireball coming out of a cannon.
No.
At that point there, I mean, I don't think, nobody knew for a little bit if Juan was okay. Nobody knew if he was dead, if he was alive. And like I said, there's not one driver that's going to put themselves in that position to purposely do it. So that's kind of why I laughed whenever you brought up that fireball joke, because it's like, it's an ignorant comment. People do not pay attention to things that go on, and they just want to assume and act like they know everything, and in the end, they don't. We're not. Drivers aren't stupid. Are going to do something to put themselves in a stupid position like that?
Definitely not. You know, you mentioned about how, you know, fans don't realize how hard it is to drive those cars. You know, your dad was very tough to get back into the JD Motorsports team in 2020 after having heart surgery and being told he probably couldn't race again, you know?